All right. Wonderful. Well, hello, everyone. I'm going to try to get this so I can see everybody all at the same time. Let me change the view, gallery view. Oh, that's better. I can see everybody at the same time. Beautiful. Oh, excellent. So welcome, everybody. I thought we'd just start with like just a short opening grounding meditation, prayer, and then we're going to get into the juice of it all. So finding a nice comfortable seat and just beginning to get present to wherever you're at in your body, in your life. It's been a busy day for everybody, I'm sure. I was updating all the modules so everybody had the right dates and time today. So just feeling that earth underneath us, feeling that grounding of Mother Earth, whether we're in a chair or we're sitting straight on the earth or not. And feeling that gratitude for the support that Mother Earth provides our bodies. And taking a few deep breaths into the belly, the lower abdomen. And bringing our attention into our own hearts, our own hearts. We are our beloveds, our one true love, and that love spreads out. As we love ourselves, we have so much more love to give to the world. And taking a moment to acknowledge yourself for taking this journey of self-love, this journey of leadership, this journey of health and wellness, this journey of expanding your consciousness beyond where you may be now, continuing to expand and to open up so that more divine intelligence can flow through you. And acknowledge yourself for the courage to begin this new journey, becoming a yoga teacher and learning these principles to apply in your life and then share with others as you share this light. It takes courage. And then just taking a moment to sending your own heart love and maybe send yourself some words of affirmation silently to yourself, acknowledging yourself for something personal. And I'll give you a few minutes of silence to send your own heart some words of affirmation. And just gently opening your eyes and coming back to the group. The lighting isn't very good where I'm at. I'm sorry. My goodness, maybe I can move, but can you all see me okay?
Yeah. Yes. You look beautiful.
So kind. I should have checked the lighting, but I was having so much trouble just getting the video up. I'm so glad we have the video.
Yay! You did awesome.
So
I had to put my puppies outside. I was worried you guys were hearing them bark at all my neighbors. I'm like, oh. I'm like, oh, puppies can
bring
go
on
play
the doggies. Bring on the dogs. Bring on the barking. Bring on the barking. We love our animals. We love our animals. So I want to just start off we wanted to talk about the bandhas first. We went over it in the immersion. I want to do a quick review. There's also a video of the bandhas in your week 1 because I use them a lot and I want everyone to really understand them. Then we're going to move on to mindfulness and samadhi. So I'll do a little review and then we're going to have some questions and sharing. I'd like to hear your wisdom and your contribution, because we're all equal masters along this plane of physical life. We all have source, universe, creative energy flowing through all of us. And so I'd love to hear all of our wisdom through this. So I'm going to go for another little quick review of the bandhas, and then we'll go into some questions about the bandhas. So the bandhas, it's a Sanskrit word, and that Sanskrit word means locks, energy locks. And what we're doing literally is locking the energy into our body. They're also called seals, energy seals. So we're sealing it in so that it doesn't leak out. And when I found out about the bandhas in my yoga teacher training, I thought to myself, I've never taken a class where they're asking me to engage these bandhas, but it sounds like they seal in the energy while you're doing your practice. So why wouldn't we be sealing them in and engaging them throughout the entire practice? And so the more I studied them and looked into them, many in India, many yogis use the bandhas during their asana practices. So I integrate them in all my hatha yoga. So as we're going through, I'll be reminding you to engage your bandhas and then begin to bring the prana and the breath. And I'm going to always be guiding you to do the breath into the belly, because that's what triggers the parasympathetic nervous system versus your sympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system puts us into fight or flight, which can put us into anxiety and generates the stress hormones. And that is one of the greatest cause of disease. And so if we breathe into the belly, and we're into the belly regularly, we're as we go through our practice, we are stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxation response, which is health building and healing to the body. So that creates relaxation. It's the relaxation response that it induces. And so the bandhas and engaging the bandhas and breathing into the belly, the abdominal breathing, will be two things that you'll hear me prompt you through the morning asanas. So the bandhas, the seals, there's 3 of them. And there's the Mula Bandha, which is the root lock. And we'll go in. I'll just go over with the root lock. That's Mula Bandha. Uddiyana Bandha is the abdominal lock. And then Jalandhara Bandha is the chin lock. So those are the 3. And when we engage all 3 together, it's called the Mala Bandha. So we'll be engaging the Mala Bandha, but I like to actually, refer to each one as I go through the practice. And as you go through your postures, some will be easier to engage than others. Like I find like when I'm in a downward dog, it's a little difficult to engage that Uddiyana Bandha. You're engaging that belly. It's hard to kind of upside down, and it's a little difficult. But I try to a little bit as best I can. So if there's a pose where one of the bandhas aren't so easy to engage, don't worry about it. Engage the ones that are easy. I am always trying to engage the Mula Bandha. That's like for me the master bandha. If I can engage that and none other, that's okay. And I try to keep my tongue on the roof of the mouth for the Jalandhara Bandha throughout my entire practices. So whenever in my practice, I just keep the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And you'll need to re-engage them as you go through the practice. So I might prompt you to engage them as we start to hold a posture and breathe. And then as we're moving into the next posture and you're moving your body, you know, your awareness isn't really on the bandha. So I just kind of let it go a little bit unconsciously. But then we get back in the pose. And as we start to go into the breath, I'll re-engage them. I'll be very more conscious because my focus now is on holding the bandhas, bringing the prana in, and holding the pose. So again, if you're, you know, you're holding your bandhas and if you realize you've been switching into another pose and you've just released them a little, no worries. I do the same thing. Re-engage them and breathe. So the Mula Bandha, this is your root lock. So it's your pelvic floor. And if you've ever done Kegels, you know exactly what that is. And if you really want to feel that muscle, and only do this just gently and don't do it too much because you don't want to give yourself any kind of urinary issues or urinary, you know, infection, bladder infection. But as you're urinating, just stop your urination flow. And that is the muscles we're talking about. So if you want to do that, you know, just practice that a little, very gently. You don't want to like hold your urine in and get problems, but just very gently stop it maybe. And just so you can, if you are at all confused about what muscles we're using when we engage our Mula Bandha, that will make it very clear. Those are the muscles that if you're urinating and you stop the urination, those are the same muscles because you have to engage the exact same muscles on the pelvic floor to stop your urination as you are using your Mula Bandha. So it's the root lock, and you're going to engage that pelvic floor, and you're going to feel a sensation of that pelvic floor lifting up a little bit. And we're not clenching the Mula Bandha. With Kegels, it's more of a like clench. We don't want to clench it. We just want to be relaxed, engaging it gently, and feel that upward sensation of that pelvic floor. And that locks the bandha. So now as you're building the prana in your body, as you're doing your practice and you're breathing and you're bringing in this life force, it's not going to leak out through the root chakra. It's not going to leak out through the pelvic floor or the Mula Bandha. And you're going to have more benefits inside your body, more prana and life force. And this is what's going to create the sacred embodiment. This is what's going to create more vitality. This is what's going to create more life force in your body. And then moving on to the Uddiyana Bandha, this, I like to take my hand like right below the belly button. Everybody take your hand right below the belly button, right below it. And you're going to engage that slightly. And then you're going to feel it lift up. And I almost like you feel it lift up so it's almost like above the belly button. So do that for a second. Put your hand on your belly, just below the belly button, and engage it in just a little bit, just a slight engagement, and then feel a movement up. That's your Uddiyana Bandha. And then you can breathe now down below the belly, and you're still engaging the Uddiyana Bandha. So you're still doing your belly breaths and you're able to engage the bandha because you're actually up here right above the belly. You've engaged it below, lifted it up above the belly button, and now you're engaged above the belly button, and you can allow the prana to open up below the belly button because you want to be doing abdominal breaths below. And it takes practice and it takes time. And practice. Be patient with yourself because your body's learning new ways. And I'll be repeating things over and over. So by the time you end the practice, you're going to know your bandhas left and right. You're going to know, your body's going to know to engage them. You'll be engaging them before I even prompt you into it. You'll be a better master than me. You'll be way better. You'll be the bandha master of the yoga world. And then our third bandha is the Jamandala Bandha, and that is your chin lock. And so that is, you take your chin and you're going to bring it in just a little teeny bit, just a teeny bit. We kind of seem to in the Western world to jet our tongues out anyway. So you're going to bring that chin in a little, and the tongue is on the roof of the mouth. And that's the lock. That's all you need to do. Is just bring it in a tiny and put the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And so let's take a moment now to practice, we're going to just take a few breaths, 3 or 4 breaths. As we do Mala Bandha, we're going to engage all 3 bandhas. So I'll take you through a little breath exercise where we're going to engage them. So just relaxing the body. And why don't you close your eyes so you can really be present with yourself and sensation. Taking a few breaths into that lower abdomen. And begin now to gently engage the Mula Bandha. Feel the pelvic floor engage and feeling a lifting up of the pelvic floor, just the sensation. Continuing to breathe. And now let's engage the Uddiyana Bandha. So we're going to feel a gentle engage of the belly, just a gentle engage, and then a lifting up of the belly. And breathing, continuing to breathe in the abdomen, even though we're holding this Uddiyana Bandha. And keeping that Mula Bandha engaged too, gently engaged. And we're keeping that Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha engaged, and we're going to engage this Jarandala Bandha. The chin comes in gently, tongue is on the roof of the mouth. And let's take a few breaths. All 3 bandhas engaged. And then releasing the breath and releasing the bandhas. And let's go into some sharing, how that was. Any questions, any sharing of how that was to engage all 3 bandhas with, 3 or 4 breaths. Any questions about the bandhas, anything that may be helpful for you with engaging these bandhas?
I don't know, it's harder than I thought to focus on all of them. You would think it's a lot more of a simple thing or simple task, but it was not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
That's very true. And as you practice, it's going to get easier and easier. And the best thing to do is, if you're having any trouble, just keep that Mula Bandha, that root lock, engaged. There's a lot of postures where, and if you keep the tongue on the roof of your mouth at all times, you don't even have to worry too much about the chin. But if you can keep that root lock engaged and keep that tongue on the roof of your mouth, that's, and it's a little difficult with Uddiyana Bandha because you're breathing into the belly. But there's just a sense of your belly isn't like lax, like, oh, my belly's hanging out, it's just hanging out. I'm on the couch. Like,
Yeah, no.
You're kind of, it's engaged a little in your breathing, but you're still breathing into the belly. So you're right. It takes a little time.
We'll get there, yeah.
Oh, you will. I promise you'll get there.
The first time I ever learned about the bandhas was I learned to like take a deep breath in and engage the bandha, and then take a deep breath out and totally empty the lungs, and then engage it again. And I can feel it better when I do it at the top and the bottom of the breath. And then learning to breathe with it engaged was tricky, but I feel it the most when I empty my lungs first and then lock, and it kind of creates a vacuum in your abdomen.
Okay,
I feel
yeah.
it really strong.
I love that, Diana. Thank you. I will use that. Can I use that?
So it's almost like So I understand it is our muscle that we are like initially working out, but it is an energy lock. So when they all align together, is it more of like a sensation all at once, or do they each like individually hold their own sensation of, you know, like breath or just energy in general?
Yeah, that's a great question, Evelyn. Thank you. I think that it's somewhat both. So they're going to all sail in the energy. Every single one is going to work
Right.
together so that there's no leaking of energy in
Okay.
your body. And then, but they're all going to be individual too. So there are some poses where you're going to say, I can only hold the Mula Bandha in this, and that's okay. And so they're separate engagements, yet they're working together for the same purpose.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna text Cindy real quick because she got on and then she okay, I just text her. She was on and then she left, so I'm not sure. I hope I didn't delete her or anything. That would be good. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does. I think it was just harder for me to, like she said, kind of do it all at once, keep them all together, holding them all at once. But I think when you said now, like release them, it was kind of hard for me to like let go. I was like, wait, how do I stop? But it,
Right.
are they kind of like when you say leaking, do you mean like energy is coming out of it in essence, I guess you could say? Does our body store it, and like without it being in a certain pose or without it being in like its locked form, is it necessarily a negative thing?
That's another great question, Evelyn. I don't think it's a negative thing because the energy is always circulating through
Right.
us. And in natural daily life, I'm not necessarily engaging my bandhas. I'm very aware of them now because I've been doing yoga for so long that I often will engage the Mula Bandha.
Right.
Or I find that I'm just my tongue's on the roof of my mouth for all day or whatever. But I think that energy circulates. It's not anything to worry. But when you are practicing yoga, one of the things that we're practicing in yoga is we're really practicing. It's an energy. It's an energy
Right.
system, and we're gonna. And as we go through, we're gonna talk about the energy systems and how these energy systems, the koshas, the chakras. Most people are familiar with chakras. We have nadis. There's a lot of different energy systems, the prana vayas. You're going to learn about all these energy systems. And as we do these energy systems, where our physical body is as healthy as our energy systems. And the health begins in the energy systems. So my body disappears, my energy systems will maintain themselves.
Right.
They say we have all these koshas. So this is my Anamaya kosha. So this is my physical kosha, the body right here.
Okay.
And then the pranamaya kosha is an invisible etheric kosha. And then we go into all the different, koshas, and you'll learn those. I don't want to get you too confused talking about bandhas. But as we go through the practices and we're really mastering the energy, we're affecting, as we build the energy and the prana and the vitality in our body in yoga. And that's one of the purposes of yoga, is to build this prana and master the body, and especially with ecstatic yoga, because it's sacred embodiment, which really means that we're realizing that there's all kinds of temples out there, and there's sacred inanimate objects, but the most sacred on the planet is your body, because literally what's animating your body is divine presence, is soul power.
Right.
And so this body is literally the holy grail in my, everybody, I say this,
Yeah.
all our bodies is
Right.
the holy grail. We've got God animating through us. I mean,
Yeah.
the temples can't really compete with that.
That's true.
So we are the vehicles of that divine energy that's flowing through. And the more we can really treat it as sacred and begin to master it and to begin to work on these energy bodies. And that is the best way to create our physical health. So as we engage the bandhas and we work on the prana and the life force and build that, first of all, it's going to start to heal things that might be off inside of us. It's going to increase our level of vitality. We won't be run down or tired, because now we've got this prana and life force coming through us, and we're these vortexes of prana. It's going to help to, it's going to definitely be as this prana moves in, it's going to bring things up that might not be serving us. So that might be it's that fire, and so it's going to burn off the things that are no longer serving. And sometimes that can be challenging, because I know Phil knows some things came up for me this week, and they were like, whoa, I'm going to burn this. I heal these things, these are all, this is old conditioning. And we're all dealing with old conditioning. And most of you are younger, so you're actually fortunate, because my generation is dealing with a denser conditioning.
Mhm.
But you're moving in every generation in the human species is more evolved.
Right.
It's the way of nature. And so your generation is more evolved. So you're going to still have conditioning, because you're born into this planet, but the conditioning and the evolution is happening. So but the vitality, the energy, the prana is going to do the work. And if you allow that to do the work, and if you allow that to start to heal and balance the energy systems around you, then it's going to just create, this physical body is going to be in balance. Physical body is going to be in health and well-being and vitality. It's a direct effect.
Right.
Does that help?
Yes, I love that. So would you say it's kind of just like activating the energy sources, I mean, we've always had them. It's just a matter of connecting to it and really like embodying the source of our own energy, right? Awesome. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's because I can feel a lot more connected spiritually when I do yoga, or when I'm doing things that are, mind, body, and soul fulfilling, versus like going to work, or, things that don't really align with my soul's being, I guess you could say.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. That's what we're doing. Thank you. Any other comments or questions about the bandhas?
Yeah, hi, this is Phil. I just wanted to say thank you, Grace, for the beautiful description of bandhas. I've been doing yoga for a while. I've never heard such a wonderful description of the 3 different bandhas, and then the Anamaya kosha that involves, the Mala bandha that involves all 3 of the other bandhas. And it really is starting to integrate and make sense. I'm curious, though, as to the length. Do each of these bandhas have an idealized length of time to hold, including all 3 of them at the same time, or are they all different?
Another great question. Thank you, Phil. In my practice, and what I'll be prompting you through often in some of the asana practices, is 3 nice, deep, lengthening breaths. And so if we take some deep breaths, 3 breaths, that's where we'll be breathing. So we're bringing in the prana, the breath brings in the prana, the breath brings in the vitality. Inhaling, bringing in that in, and those 3 breaths are when I very consciously engage the bandhas. So we'll be holding the pose, like let's just say, because I'm not standing up, but we're in star. So my arms are out, my legs are wide, my head is there, and we're in star pose. And we're engaging. So at the minute we're holding the pose, engaging the bandhas, bringing in 3 deep breaths, bringing in the prana and life force, and it's sealing, and it's going to seal itself in because it's not going to leak out for 3 breaths. And then you relax and start moving into the next pose. And then as I move into the next pose, because my focus is really adjusting my body and the alignment to get into the next pose, I kind of relax the bandhas at that point. And then when I'm all set up and I feel like I've got the alignment of the pose, my foundation is set, and I'm holding the pose again. Now let's say I'm in goddess, and I'm in a squat, in a goddess squat, engaging the bandhas, 3 deep breaths. So with the ecstatic yoga, how I teach it, and Sally does a little different with her asana, I like to engage. Hatha is slower. It's not a fast, like if you're going to do some of the other types of yoga, but Hatha is a slower, it's getting you more mindful, more present in your body, and holding it on those 3 breaths. So that's how I use it when I'm holding it on the breaths. And then I relax it as I move into the next pose. And as I hold, engage again for 3 deep breaths.
So I figure my breaths are about 5 seconds of breath, so 15 seconds during that period of time, and then release. And that's true for each of them, including the combination Mala Bandha.
I try to practice Mala Bandha on every pose, unless it's a position that I'm not able, it doesn't feel comfortable to engage one of the bandhas. But I try to engage Mala Bandha, all 3 bandhas in every pose.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. Any other questions or comments or wisdom to share with the group? I think Cindy might be coming in. Is this our Cindy? I think Cindy's coming in. She's been having trouble. She said her computer was locking her out. So, and I can go over the bandhas with Cindy separately, but if there's no more questions on, oh, there you are. Hey, Cindy. Hope she can connect in. Hi, Cindy. All right, Cindy's in. So Cindy, I'm going to go over bandhas with you separately, but we're going to now move on to just a very short bit of mindfulness and then samadhi, because we're going to start this week with our first mindfulness practice and lesson and your first samadhi lesson this week. Who did the yin asana today? How many people did yin? Yay! Okay. So how did you like the yin asana?
Very calming. I had gone to work out at my job, and it was just nice, and it was nice to kind of step into that because we were doing a lot of weights and crazy stuff, and it was early in the morning, so it was nice and calming. I didn't finish all of it because I had to get to work, but I did at least like 40 minutes of it, I believe, and so we're gonna finish the rest together today. Yeah. But yeah, I liked it for a Monday, kind of step into that more, like with more awareness with your body, not so much like back and forth and going all over the place. So yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Great.
Is this how you speak?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I hear you, Tessa.
Hi. Hi, it's good to see everybody. Happy Monday. I really loved the practice this morning. I love how you say that it's good to like take time and integrate the breath work and the movement of what we learned today. I also only did about like 40 minutes of it, but the 40 minutes that I did really helped me center and ground myself. So thank you so much.
Great, great. That's the intention with the yin asana. And you're going to notice that with hatha, it's always going to be a little slower because of the intention is mindfulness and sacred embodiment. But with yin, it's just very restorative and slow. Anyone
I
else?
loved it. I loved the end today. It was awesome.
Excellent, Cindy. Good.
Sorry,
good.
you kicked me out like 3 times. I had to keep jumping on, and then there's no volume, so I apologize. I didn't want to be
No.
disruptive.
Apologies necessary, and thank you for your tenacity and getting back on. Getting great. Thank you for being here, Cindy.
Thank you. Yeah, and I love the bandhas. I definitely, that's been a fun little thing to be putting back in. And I remember years ago when you first got your yoga teacher, and that was just so awesome. I remembered that, the stills and the locks, and how important that was.
Excellent. And Cindy, we can talk anytime you want when you have a free, 15, 20 minutes, and I'll go over, or I can send you this video and you can watch the first 15 minutes. I went into a little more detail, and there is a video on the 1 week portal on the bandhas too, but I'll send everybody this link.
Yay.
So, because I am recording it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's go on to mindfulness, because mindfulness is very connected to the yin asana. We're going to be doing a few mindfulness practices in the next few weeks. And with mindfulness, it's really about slowing down a little bit more, slowing down in allowing your brain and your nervous system to slow down and become more present and centered. And then as you move through your activities of the day, becoming just more present. And one of the things I love, and I say in one of the mindfulness classes, it's really good training for mindfulness. There's 2 things I'd like to suggest for mindfulness. I don't want to bring up too much to confuse you, because you're going to have the lessons. One of the things that has helped me with mindfulness, and I can tell when I'm starting to get too overwhelmed and racy, and trust me, I do get overwhelmed and racy, and I have to bring myself back to presence. And one of the things I love doing is when I start to anything I do, like here's a pen I'm going to pick